I'm getting no. I just may have to go on off of here. Yeah, we're just going to have to go up base off of this. Yeah, let's. Well, as we get started, of course, we have to say Happy Veterans Day to all those that have served, all those that are currently serving, and no matter what branch of service that you're in, as long as you have done one day or you've done 40 days, we thank you for your service. Happy Veterans Day to all of my fellow veterans out there today, Bob.
Yep. Happy Veterans Day. My dad served 32.
32, wow.
In the Air Corps / Air Force. And my son-in-law is currently in Norfolk serving with the U.S. Navy, Lieutenant Commander, flying helicopters, keeping us safe. We thank them and those that came before them and whose shoulders we stand on. The freedoms we enjoy, whatever party we claim to be a part, the rights that we have as Americans are because of these gallant warriors.
Most definitely. You're tuned in to Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. We are having a little technical issues with their YouTube page, so hopefully it's still coming out there to everyone tonight. I guess I'll find out later when I go back to watch it. But thank you once again for coming on this Wednesday night. The regular season has ended. It's time for the playoffs.
Yep,
playoffs.
Playoffs? What are you talking about playoffs? We're just trying to win a game.
But
Another game.
We got a bunch of games coming up Friday night. Even some of the teams that bowed out of the state tournament already, as well as we'll go over a couple of those games as well. But a lot of games coming up this Friday night. Navarre will be off this week. They have a bye week. They'll be back at home next Friday night, and they'll face the winner of Creekside and Buchholz as they will be facing off this Friday night. And it should be an interesting night. And I'm looking at both of those teams. Probably Buchholz is probably going to come out of that. They're currently, I think, ranked number – well, I'm going to tell you because I have those rankings. Buchholz is currently number 8 in Class 7A. Navarre just sitting outside the top 10 at number 11. So a great matchup. Niceville moved up to 3. What a season Niceville's having. But we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about our picks from last week, our high school and our college. Why are you shrugging over there, Bob? Bob had a rough week on the college picks this past weekend.
I had it handed to me, and that's with changing my pick on the air.
On Thursday night.
Thursday
yeah, you did.
Night, right, Thursday night football, selecting going back and selecting Notre Dame. It's
You
probably
came to the dark side.
No, I don't. I'm Catholic. I've always loved Notre Dame.
Okay.
I've always loved Notre Dame. It's just, you graduate from university, you want to stick with them through thick and thin, and we'll talk about some thick in the twisted
takes. You got a good one tonight?
Yeah, I do.
It's going to be sports.
Something that Mike Norvell and the coach of Mississippi State got in common right now.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that a little later towards the end of the show. Mm-hmm. I'll come up with my Florida high school fun facts. We're going to go total points scored by one team in a regulation game and total points combined by two teams. So we're actually going two fun facts tonight. Okay. But we'll get there eventually. We'll do our Panhandle Power Rankings. We have a repeat offender, not from last week, but from earlier in the season.
Okay.
And he hails from your neck of the woods over there in your
South
school
Walton,
district.
Yeah.
Another great game. We'll talk about him in a little bit.
Yep.
We have a new defensive player. This one out of Washington this week. Washington upsets Milton this past Friday night. That was a big surprise, and that was their playing game because that Milton is now done. That was their playing game. So they're out of the playoffs after the awesome season that Harry Lee's put together over there in Pantherland. But they're done with the season. And Washington gave the Panthers an early exit.
Wow, I guess I knew that, but I didn't know that as far as so they're out.
They are out. We're sitting here at Culver's, downtown Navarre. Thank you to Randy and Honey Smith for allowing us to come in to their establishment each and every Wednesday night. And then we're going to talk about our former Navarre Raiders, and one of them had a really outstanding game this past weekend. Actually, two of them actually had pretty darn good games. So we're going to talk about them and their accomplishments from last weekend. We're going to get off on our scoreboard right now, Week 10 scoreboard from this past Friday night. Thursday night contest, we were up in Crestview. And I want to thank the administration up at Crestview for putting us up last Thursday night. I had a great talk with Coach Hatton before the game, and they took care of us while we were up there. Even got room service as far as drinks and everything. It was great.
Well, I mean that's just class, and that's who he is.
Yeah,
and we appreciate him and Principal Dexter Day for doing that for us.
Navarre takes out Crestview 30-13. Another Thursday night game. West Florida takes out Pine Forest 13-0. On Friday night, Gulf Breeze gets a big win over Tate, 31-9. They're going to have to travel over to Daytona Beach to play Sea Breeze this Friday night.
Gulf Breeze and Sea Breeze.
Sea Breeze. So it's a battle of the breezes. Which one is stronger?
Yeah, and what kind of weather they're going to have.
Correct. Niceville over Pace, another running clock for the Eagles, 42-7. Scambia 32-6 over Pensacola. Washington, we already talked about, 29-20 over Milton. Freeport, an excellent game last week, 29-7 over Liberty County. Northview 41, J7. The Chiefs are running strong right now.
Yep.
Baker 39, Port St. Joe 7.
That surprised me. That surprised me a little bit. I thought the game would be kind of like a Sneed's game, but Baker's defense shut down their running back.
They sure did. Wakulla 35, Fort Walton Beach 24. First game for Fort Walton Beach in a little over a month. Performed rather courageously there after not playing for almost 5 weeks.
Right.
Rocky Bayou puts a 53 spot up on St. Francis 53-28. But Florida High topped them a little bit. They knocked off Walton 64-7 last Friday night. Taylor County 38-0 over Franklin County. University Christian 42, Monroe Days 0. Bay 52, Rutherford 22. South Walton 49, Lighthouse 34. Mariana 35, Chipley 12. Bluntstown 36, Graceville 6. Good to see Coach Bo back in the win column there.
Yep.
As they get ready to face, I believe they're playing Port St. Joe this Friday night in the first round of the playoffs. Lincoln 36, Godby 32. North Florida Christian 41, FAMU 20. Rickards 35, Childs 10. North Bay Haven over Bozeman 17-7. So the Buccaneers beat the Bucks.
Yeah, a little bit of surprise there. I think we both went with the Bucks.
We did. Holmes County 22, Weewa. They upset Weewa, the Gators.
Wow.
One of the Gators teams that you picked, one of 4. And that was the only one that you lost.
They did.
And Gadsden County, a Catholic, was canceled.
Yeah, and I'm crossing my fingers and crossing my toes for high school football. We see that, and we'll talk about it later, with college football, the number of games canceled. They.
But you know what is this weekend, right? You know what's coming up this weekend? The Masters. So we're going to have extended coverage of the Masters on Saturday on CBS.
The Masters.
A tradition like no other.
The Masters. And Ammo turns sweet 16.
16,
on the
huh?
20th.
Well, early happy birthday to her.
I will. I
well,
sure will.
We'll have another show between now and then.
Yep.
So
sure will. Yep.
No birthday wishes yet.
Oh,
she's
she's already asking for gifts.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, anyways, let's get to the scoreboard from last Thursday night's game. Our Ian Lockwood player of the game, Jaden Rivera. No
surprise.
That's like his 3rd or 4th one of the year already.
Yeah.
Our defensive player of the game, Grady Kelly. What another great night he had. Our offensive player of the game, the Raiders are getting it from different weapons in the receiving core. This week it's Jabari Mitchell with the solid night, and Preston Penton, 3 for 3 on extra points, 1 for 1 field goals, is our special teams player of the game. Zach Marquise really starting to come into his own here as this season's winding down. He went 9 of 17 for 116 yards and a score. He also had 3 carries for 41 yards, so another 150-yard night for Zach. Jason Deal, 3 for 7, 48 yards, and the first touchdown of the night for the Raiders. Both the touchdown catches go to Trent Hall. Trent on the night had 3 catches for 29 yards. Jabari had 4 for 86. Jaden finished the night with 20 carries for 128 yards and his 11th and 12th touchdowns of the season in 6 games. So he's averaging 2 a game. Yeah, that's my quick math there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's easily, if he could have played the whole game, he could have very well got that closer to 200.
Most definitely. Don't have any defensive stats from the game, but it was another great defensive effort by the Raiders in both halves. And they limited Crestview to a touchdown in both halves, and then Crestview scores on the last play of the game to cut it to 17. So it really wasn't as close as a 17-point margin at the end of the game.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Well, we got to see the great efforts of Marquise McCoy. What a talent that young man is at Crestview. Whatever position you want him to play, he'll play. He did an excellent job running the ball. Struggled a little bit throwing the ball. That was large in part to the Raider corners playing tight coverage.
Yeah, they did, and him running for his life with Grady Kelly and Devin Wright chasing after
Lucas
him.
Marvel had a solid game up front there, along with Jordan Moon, and the front seven just really picking it up here over these last few weeks. And the Raiders have outscored their opponents on the season 190 to 104. So they're giving up about 16 points a game, 17 points a game, and averaging just a little bit over 30.
Pretty solid.
So there's your offensive information from that game on the season. Let's go over some offensive stats for the Raiders. Once again, we don't have any defensive stats to provide you. Zach Marquise, 38 of 68 on the season for just under 500 yards, 5 touchdowns. Jason Deal with 4 touchdown passes. Jaden Rivera with 120 carries for 787 yards through 6 games, 11 rushing, 1 receiving. Zach Marquise really starting to pick up the running game, 36 carries, 218 yards. Raiders as a team have amassed over 1,200 yards rushing, 690 yards passing. And on the return game, they really have had a solid return game over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, Chris, you kind of kept it away from dribbling the ball on kickoffs. They kicked off. Well, they scored 2 touchdowns, and they kicked off one other time, either to start the game or to start the second half. So only three times Marquise got the opportunity to receive a kickoff. And so while he wasn't, star.
Ooh,
Well,
that was not good.
I think we may have gone off camera, which is not a bad thing for my face. There we are. But he turned it up as another weapon on the receiving corps. And,
We lost our camera feed, too.
to give
Here, let me check. You keep on talking. I'll go ahead and check the camera here.
the Navarre quarterbacks extra weapons besides Rivera will cause teams to that want to creep up and play the run against Rivera. That will keep them honest. And so there we are. It's me.
Back on there? Good.
Yeah. He'll keep those linebackers honest as
There we go.
and make the RPO even more successful. I just it's great how because you've got Arno, you've got Marquise, you've got Hall, you've got Rivera out of the backfield, you've got Thor who can catch it out of the backfield. A lot of weapons. Haven't used the tight end as much as we have in the past. Sometimes they split the tight end out.
Davion Hardy's really been stepping up his game over the last 3 weeks.
That's true.
And they can run either him out of the backfield or Isaiah Miller. I know Isaiah didn't play last week. I don't know what was the reason that he was not on the field. But, they've been really mixing it up, and it's nice to get the big Bubbas out there, and they're providing a lot of great protection for Deal and Marquise.
I driving to Crestview amongst all that traffic, I really didn't know what to anticipate from Crestview. I was a little nervous because Crestview always has speed. They always have great linemen. I knew they were down. I just didn't know what to anticipate. And as you said, the Raiders showed up.
Most definitely. Well, there's our offensive stats for the season. Preston Penton, 12 of 13 on extra points, 3 of 6 field goals. He's 50% on the season. By quarter, the Raiders have outscored their opponents in the first quarter 52-21, 67-35 in the second, 33-14 in the third, and 38-34 in the fourth quarter. 194, 104 against. They're a +4 in the turnover differential. They've only turned it over 8 times. They forced 12 turnovers on the season. They were +1 Friday night as Grady Kelly forced a fumble. I never did see who ended up coming up with that ball, but there was a host of Raiders over there trying to get at that ball. But Trent Hall, your leading receiver, 16 receptions, 260 yards, 6 touchdowns, turning into a pretty good season for the junior wide receiver there. Jabari Mitchell, Arno, and Rivera's been catching a lot more passes out of the backfield as well. But what really impressed me with Jaden the other night, a lot of running backs can run, as we call north and south, which is towards the end zones. He really impressed me last week. He was started out to play, even though it was designed to go to the left, he kept his head up and his vision, and he would 2 or 3 times he cut back to the right, and especially on the 24-yard touchdown run. He had great vision last Thursday night.
Right, and he didn't do the same move every time. He jab step and leave somebody, in his tracks. He wouldn't do, and it just he's a great back, and I tell you what, teams that have to face him in the future, whether it's Creekside or Buchholz, they got their hands full.
And they're going to have to come to Navarre as well, so they're going to have to face off in front of Raider Nation next Friday night. Not an easy task at hand. Well, we're going to go ahead and come out for a commercial break. Then we're going to come back with a special message for Veterans Day here when we come back. This Irish Bill with Seminole Bob on Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. We'll be back after this commercial break.
Craig Culver of Culver's.
Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culver's, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322.
Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track. Well, they're seeing to it that they are properly fed, have good transportation, are making sure that all Raider fans can hear all the exciting Navarre Raider football action. The Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on IrishBillSports.com.
A strong work ethic takes pride in a job well done. This is the kind of person you need. Express Employment Professionals can help because we understand what it takes to hire the right person. It takes real people, real interviews. We find good people, matching the right skills with the right jobs from the production floor to the front office. Express knows jobs. Get to know Express. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
Navarre Raider Sports is brought to you by Ursula Householder of Coldwell Banker Residential Real Estate, your local real estate connection. With Ursula, you got a positive, helpful partner for buying or selling a home. Ursula can help with all of your real estate needs. Whether in the Florida Panhandle or around the world, her 16 years experience in real estate will work for you with innovative marketing strategies. Thinking about selling your home? Call Ursula for a free marketing analysis to see if you qualify for one of the incentive programs. Call or text 850-642-5711. Email ursula.householder@floridamoves.com or go to householderhomes.com. Go Raiders! Your fans are all behind you at the field or while you're watching at home.
No matter how long it may take us to overcome this premeditated invasion, the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory.
In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material computations. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn we're spirits, not animals. And he said there's something going on in time and space and beyond time and space, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty.
to pay tribute to those veterans that have served, that are still with us, that have been laid to rest. This tribute today and what I did with President Kennedy and President Reagan, the words still echo today of those that give their service to their country. Like I said, either one day or a lifetime. To me, once you give one day, the service is your lifetime. And thanks to them. And I just wanted to share a little bit of tribute to our veterans today, Bob.
Yeah, that's spine-tingling there. Very, very patriotic at the same time, somber, knowing those that what they have to go through, mainly being away from their families is the biggest thing. You went through it, and it certainly wasn't easy. I was on the other end as a child, as a Vietnam child, while Dad was away, and lots of sacrifice. I saw what sacrifices my mother made as a military wife, and those are also the special people we want to remember tonight. Is those wives and husbands who stay behind taking care of families that allow these warriors to do what they do.
Yeah, I remember my first trip overseas is when I went back to Incirlik, Turkey back in 1997. And that was my first time I'd ever been overseas, not knowing what to expect. But once you get over there and you're amongst all the other Americans that are doing the same thing, it makes you fill up with a bit of pride and in what you do. And yes, I knew I had a 2-year-old daughter home at the time before Brady was even born. But when I got off the plane coming back in January of 1997 and saw my daughter Brooke running down the rampway to hug me, that's what it's all about.
Yep, absolutely. And did she run by you, or did she run to you?
She actually ran up to me and gave me one of the biggest hugs that a little 2-year-old could.
Gosh.
Dad was definitely crying that day.
Well, yeah.
But after almost 90 days of being away from him, it was good to get back on American soil, and I've met so many great people along the way. Got to be a part of, guys, after Desert Shield, Desert Storm. I know we're getting a little bit away from sports, but today we can do that. What I was a part of when I was over in Oman and Pakistan, and seeing the faces not only of our Americans but our allies at that time going in and out of Pakistan, and the faces of them not knowing what they're getting into. None of us knew what we were getting into at that time, but it was just great how everybody just came together. And I hope, yes, we had the election last week, and I don't try to bring politics. Honestly, I'm going to support the office no matter who's in there. It doesn't matter to me whether you're a Republican, Independent, Democrat. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna respect the office, and I'm gonna back whoever is in there. And I hope we as a country can start to build back the bond that we have that we felt, especially when that day after 9/11. 11 days later, I was in Pakistan. I had no idea where I was going, but the feeling that we had spread throughout our country at that time after 9/11, we came together, everybody. If you had different viewpoints, you kind of set it on the side. You just came together. The honking of the horns, the flags in the windows, the flags waving on property. Everybody just came together as American, and I hope in the very near future that we can start to come together once again.
Oh, I absolutely. Many of my kids that I teach, some of them have their own ideas. Many of them get them from their parents, which is, understandable. whatever candidate they supported. And I said, you've got to respect the position and pray for whoever the leader is, because if the leader is doing well, then we assuredly, the country is doing well, and the country's doing well. For the most part, I would be doing well. So, yeah.
So let's come together, people, and let's get back to football.
That's something that definitely unites us.
Oh, definitely. And now it's time for Week 11, our playing games coming up this week. It's basically do or die now,
right,
for a lot of teams. You win, you keep moving on. You lose, you pack up. The seniors pack up those bags for the very last time as a high school football player. There's a lot on the line. I love playing our Kenny Chesney Boys of Fall. That just describes that feeling. But now it's time to get our picks. But first,
make it, take it, just like in basketball.
19-4 by both of us last week. So no ground gained, no ground lost. So we both went 19-4, very respectable 82.6% on the season. I just maintained a slight 2-game lead heading into Week 11.
Slight 2-game lead.
So now we're going to start Friday night. North Bay Haven goes to Rutherford, 2-6. North Bay Haven at 3-4. Rutherford. Rutherford took a beating last week. North Bay Haven got their second win. I'm going with the Rams at home.
One of Jay Walls, he graduated from there, I do believe.
He is class of 81.
Yeah.
Same year that I graduated high school.
Going with the Rams.
We're going to throw some names at you you're probably not familiar with. High schools, Escambia traveling down to the Orlando area.
Middleburg
Gainesville area.
Near Jacksonville.
Jacksonville?
Yeah.
Okay. 7-0 get this. 7-0 Escambia going to Middleburg 0-9. I think that's going to be a running clock there rather quickly for Escambia.
So you win all your games, and what you get for it is you got to go on the road. I call that a money game because it costs money, those buses and meals and time lost. So, yeah, I'm going with the
Gators.
The Gators, my first
Gators. I'm starting to see a trend here with you and the Gators, Bob. You picked every Gator team in the last 2 weeks.
Well, I didn't do well with Weewaw,
but you were 3 out of 4 last week.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. 3 out of 4.
West Florida 3-1 at Pensacola 1-5. Jaguars playing really strong defense.
Yeah, I agree.
Pensacola Catholic. This is one of those games that PK Young said we're not playing. So
that's right, they forfeited.
Catholic moves on in that one, which we would have took Catholic anyway. So let's give ourselves a win.
Okay.
Wakulla 7-1, traveling back over to the Pensacola Panhandle area once again this week. This time it's over to Escambia County to take on Pine Forest. It's going to be, even though Pine Forest is 2-4, they're always tough to play at home.
Gosh, they got talent.
They got talent. They got their quarterback back, injured a couple of weeks ago. I still got to go with the War Eagles in this one.
War Eagle.
And we move over another team that's going to have to take a long trip to the Jacksonville area. Tate 1-5, which is about the most northwestern school that you can have other than Northview, and traveling all the way to the East Coast to take on Fleming Island. And I'm going to take Fleming Island in that one.
Absolutely. Again, we hope they play the games. We just don't know what this tropical.
Because we have Hurricane
Ada. ETA.
Wish Ada would fade on out of here.
Yeah. Estimated time of arrival, who knows?
Okay.
ETA.
Yeah.
Ada.
Next we got 1-6 Revolt. They're out of the Jacksonville area, having to come to Choctaw.
Right.
It's been a long season, and I am probably going to put the knife in their season because I'm going with Revolt in this one.
Revolt, yeah.
Niceville 7-0 at Crestview, 37-point favors coming into this one. Going with the Eagles to go to 8-0.
Yeah, Crestview showed signs of flashes of good stuff, but man, Niceville's going to probably run and clock them.
Fort Walton Beach 2-3, at Lee 5-1, and we'll be doing that game on Freedom 94.3 out of Okaloosa County. So Trey Brixey and I will be heading over to Jacksonville area on Friday afternoon to do the game Friday night, and but I think Fort Walton Beach is going to have their hands full with Lee.
I wish they would win, but I got to go with Lee. Very strong team.
North Rocky Bayou 3-5 heading to North Florida Educational, which I think is also a Jacksonville area team.
I have no idea. I've never heard of that school.
And I'm going to go with Rocky Bayou. I got to stick with the Knights.
I'll stick with the Knights.
Next, we're going to move Gulf Breeze, traveling all the way over to Daytona. That's a haul.
Yeah, that's a hike.
And
Gulf Breeze against Sea Breeze.
Sea Breeze 3-4, Gulf Breeze 2-4. I'm going with the Breezers, but the Sea Breezers.
I'm going to go with the Sea Breezers also.
Mosley 4-3, having to travel over to St. Augustine. Not quite as far a drive from Panama City, but it's still a haul. I'm going to go with St. Augustine and the Yellow Jackets in that one.
That's Nice, right?
No, that's actually St. Augustine. Ponte Vedra is Nice.
Oh, okay.
Navarre,
I'll go with St. Augustine.
Navarre played over there a couple of times. Went 1-1, lost 1.
Tim Tebow.
Here's going to be a really good game Friday night. Bluntstown 3-3, heading to Port St. Joe 6-2. It's hard to go against Coach Bo, but unfortunately this week I am going to have to go with the Tiger Sharks at home.
Yeah, it's been a tough year all the way for Coach Bo. Tiger Sharks bounce back.
Santa Fe heading to Gadsden County. Gadsden County has had a solid season, and I'm going to go with Gadsden County in that one.
Their 5th game is in the playoffs. That's amazing.
I know. FAMU 2-5 heading at St. John Paul II, 4-3.
Crosstown rivals. Got to go with. I'm going with the Catholics.
I am as well. So we're matched up here so far, Bob. Florida High 7-0. Andrew Jackson 4-4. Florida High may be one of the best teams in that classification. I wouldn't be surprised if they make back-to-back trips to the state finals in 3A.
Going with Florida High. And I think they're also the Chiefs, aren't they?
Florida High or is the Seminoles?
Seminoles, yeah. Chiefs, Seminoles.
Got to be 3-3 at Paxson, 3-4. That's Paxon.
Jacksonville, Paxson.
And I'm going to go with the Cougars in this one.
Me as well.
First Coast heading to Tallahassee, 3-3. Lincoln 5-1. Going with the Trojans at home.
Yep.
They always seem to get stronger as the season comes.
Yeah.
And then once the playoffs hit. North Florida Christian 4-2 at Maclay, 4-4. 2 Jacksonville teams playing each other.
Who?
Maclay.
Tallahassee teams.
Tallahassee, I mean.
Yeah. You were thinking of your trip to Jacksonville coming up. Yeah.
I'm going with North Florida Christian here.
Not so fast. Going with an upset here. Maclay at home.
Maclay at home. Rickards 4-1 heading to Ed White, which is another Jacksonville team.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Rickards on the road.
Yep. Pretty strong team this year.
Dixie County 5-2 heading to Boot Hill this Friday night.
Boot Hill.
One of the best names for a high school stadium, Boot Hill. Madison County 7-2, number 1 team in Class 1A.
Going with Madison. And their bridges. You
know
they have bridges there, don't you?
I think they do.
They have a few.
Osceola Christian 6-2 heading to University Christian 4-4. I'm going with the University in this one.
I'm going with Osceola on the road.
Chipley 4-5 at Northview, 6-1. Going with the Chiefs there, no doubt.
Yep.
Washington 4-2 heading to Pace. It would have been Milton and Pace in this game, but Washington with the upset, 4-2 at Pace, 3-3. I'm going to go with Washington in this one.
Yeah, I think it's Tommy Joe Whidden is the head coach there, doing a good job once again. Got him into the playoffs. I'm going to go with Washington on this, on the road.
Jay 2-5 at Baker. Baker just in this area is pretty much unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, in the playoffs, though, things could get a little tight. Jay has really come on. I'm going to go with the Baker boys.
Another Gators.
Yeah.
Freeport 4-3. The Bulldogs going to Holmes County. And last week I picked against the Bulldogs. This week I am not picking against the Bulldogs.
Well, was that? Yeah, okay. Yeah, because
so
2 weeks ago they
with Freeport
play.
In this one.
I'm going with Holmes County.
Graceville 1-8 at Vernon 4-1. This game is not going to be close from the onset.
No
Vernon
contest.
and a laugher in this one. Then we finish up Liberty County at Sneads, and I like the Pirates in this one.
Arg.
So there's our picks. Hopefully all of them will happen, except for the one that we
already did.
Pensacola Catholic and PK Young. And there's our high school picks on the season. I got a slim advantage over Bob, 77% to 75.8%.
We got 3 different, so you can either be 5 up or I could be 1 up.
You could take the lead.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Hell could freeze over, too.
Okay, now we're going to move over to our classification rankings. Thanks to our good friend Joshua Wilson at FloridaHighSchoolFootball.com. He puts these out every Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday morning. Seminole still up top, 7-0 on the season in Class 8A. In Class 7A, Bloomingdale, they're 1 spot ahead of St. Thomas Aquinas, and Niceville sitting in the 3 spot. Navarre sitting in at number 11. They're 6-0. In Class 6A, Miami Central, they're 2-1. Escambia, local team, here at 7-0 in the 6th spot for the second consecutive week. In Class 5A, Miami Northwestern, 2-1. Class 4A, Cardinal Gibbons, 3-1. They've been up there on top for a while. In Class 3A, Chaminade Madonna at 4-1. Class 2A, Champagnat Catholic, 6-2. They're holding down the top spot. And in Class 1A, Vernon, 4-1 in the 2 spot. Baker, 9-0 in the 3. And Port St. Joe comes in at number 7.
Are we going to see down the road Madison County and Baker?
I think that's a good possibility. But two teams you got to really watch for here out of the Panhandle. One being Vernon. The one loss they have was against Wakulla, a Class 5A team. And then Northview. Northview 6-1 on the season. Their only loss was to Escambia Academy, a very strong program in the state of Alabama. Mm-hmm. So don't count Northview or Vernon out. But I think it's going to come down to Madison County, Vernon, Baker, Northview. One of those 3 teams is going to come out of the Panhandle and face Baker in the championship game.
Such great 1A football.
I know. Great running backs. I mean, gosh, you got K1 Powell over at Vernon. Jaden Jackson, what a year he's having for Northview. Let's not count Joe Brunson out over at Baker, averaging 205 yards a game this year. So he's rushed for over 1,800 yards this season already. They got the Southmore down there as well, putting on quite a show. They just love to run the ball. And if you have to go to Baker and play them, you're in for quite an experience.
I would want to play them.
So we're going to take a quick commercial break. Then we'll be back for the last segment of our show. And we're going to have our players of the week and our power rankings right back on Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. Seminole Bob, Irish Bill. We'll be right back.
Craig Culver of Culver's.
Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culver's, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322.
Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track. Well, they're seeing to it that they are properly fed, have good transportation, or making sure that all Raider fans can hear all the exciting Navarre Raider football action. The Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on IrishBillSports.com.
A strong work ethic takes pride in a job well done. This is the kind of person you need. Express Employment Professionals can help because we understand what it takes to hire the right person. It takes real people, real interviews. We find good people, matching the right skills with the right jobs from the production floor to the front office. Express knows jobs. Get to know Express. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
Navarre Raider Sports is brought to you by Ursula Householder of Coldwell Banker Residential Real Estate, your local real estate connection. With Ursula, you got a positive, helpful partner for buying or selling a home. Ursula can help with all of your real estate needs. Whether in the Florida Panhandle or around the world, her 16 years experience in real estate will work for you with innovative marketing strategies. Thinking about selling your home? Call Ursula for a free marketing analysis to see if you qualify for one of the incentive programs. Call or text 850-642-5711. Email ursula.householder@floridamoves.com or go to householderhomes.com. Go Raiders! Your fans are all behind you at the field or while you're watching at home.
It's Irish Bill with Seminole Bob back here at Culver's in Navarre. It's time for Irish Bill Super 7 Pin and our Power Rankings and large and small schools and our Players of the Week. Normally I would read them off my sheet, but I ran out of printer ink today, so I'm going to have to read it off my screen. As I was printing out my final things today, I ran out of printer ink.
First world problems, right?
Yes. Our number one team still changed pretty much the whole season. Niceville at number 1 after they beat Pace. Escambia at number 2. Navarre in at number 3. Washington moves up to 4. West Florida moves up to 5. Milton ends their season with the loss to Washington. They drop to number 6. And an open week for Mosley last week. They stay at number 7. In the small schools, Baker, Vernon, Northview, Sneeds, Catholic, Mariana, and Port St. Joe. Our offensive player of the week, he's a 2-time winner this year of Irish Bill's Offensive Player of the Week. And this time from South Walton, quarterback Kemper Hodges accounted for 7 touchdowns on the night as he went 28 for 37, passed for 389 yards and 4 touchdowns, and also contributed 102 yards on 11 carries and 3 touchdowns in a 49-34 win over Lighthouse PCA. Quite a night for Kemper there, huh?
Yeah, South Walton's got the offense. It's just their defense has been less than stellar throughout the year, and if they're going to travel further in the playoffs, they're going to have to get that fixed.
Most definitely. Our defensive player hails from Washington. Linebacker Jalen Lewis contributed 14 tackles, 6 solo, 8 assists, 2 tackles for loss, and a sack, and a 29-20 upset win over Milton. So congratulations to Kemper Hodges from South Walton and Jalen Lewis from Washington are players of the week.
Good job.
I mean, he had some great performances out there. Niceville's Trey Wainwright right there again. I mean, 12 of 16, 336 yards, 5 touchdowns. Port St. Joe's Colin Amison has had an outstanding year as well, 297 yards passing. Washington's Emil Steele, quite a performance this year in 2020 for him. He threw for 266 and 2 scores. Our wide receivers, you don't need to go very far from Kemper Hodges' room to Cade Roberts' room, as he had 10 receptions last week, 181 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think he's pretty close to leading the state in receptions and yardage. Port St. Joe's Dakota Quinn, 3 receptions, 146. Niceville's Azariah Thomas, 2 receptions, 140 yards. That's 70 yards a catch.
Yeah, that's
not bad,
good.
is it?
No, not at all.
Freeport's KK Anderson, 6 receptions, 112 yards. Let's move on over the running backs. Another solid night for Joe Brunson. If he's playing, he's going for 200-plus on the ground, 217 and 4 touchdowns. Weewa's freshman Zay McDaniel, another nice night, 27 carries, 200 yards and a score. Gulf Breeze's Troy Coughlin, 26 carries, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jaden Jackson, just a ho-hum night, 18 carries, 172 yards.
10 yards carry almost.
Three touchdowns. He had averaged 272 yards a game coming into this game on the season. And Navarre's Jaden Rivera, 20 carries, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. 12 touchdowns on the season for Jaden. And Fort Walton Beach's Jay Jarrett had 18 carries for 107 yards and 2 scores. Quite a list of defensive players. I'll just go over the names real quick. Won't throw their stats out there, but great performance by Eldrick Robinson of Washington, Elijah Larkins from West Florida, Zach Edwards from Rutherford, Port St. Joe's Jacob Hopper and Trayton Dockery, Washington's J.D. Wright, Weewa's Alex Williams, Northview's Logan Bryan, Escambia's Alex Crook, Gulf Breeze's Seth Horton and Andrew Thorne, North Bay Haven's Brody Casapol, Port St. Joe's Aiden Garner, Northview's Johnny Wyndham, Crestviews Alex Murray, Northview's Clayton Cottrell, Tate's Jackson Safford and Ja'Cory Simpkins, and Escambia's Tabari Taylor and Herschel Jefferson. Our special teams recipient, Troy Coughlin from Gulf Breeze, had 2 kickoff returns for 96 yards. Pretty solid there. Escambia's Ethan Yuska. I followed the story on Friday night of where this young man came from. This is his first year at Escambia High School. He was out in Washington State getting ready to play his senior year at Washington in high school, and Washington shut down all of their high school programs. So they picked up and they moved to Pensacola. I think the young man is trying to get in at West Florida, so he was playing his senior year at Escambia High, and he had 5 field goals in the week before against Crestview. He had 2 more field goals this past week, went long for 46. 7 kickoffs, and all 7 were touchbacks last week as he averaged over 60 yards a kickoff. And Niceville's Josh Hamel, 7 kickoffs, 5 touchbacks. He averaged 65 a kick. Navarre's Preston Penn, 3 of 3, and 1 for 1 on field goals. And he averaged 40 yards a punt, 3 punts. And Rutherford's Jonathan Walker, 3 punts, 42.7 average. And Northview's Brandon Ferguson, 3 for 3 on extra point. And, you know, I was looking over at the trying to get ready for the game Friday night over in Jacksonville with Lee. Their punter is averaging almost 49 yards a punt. For Lee High School.
Wow.
In Jacksonville. That's solid.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want your punter to have.
But he's only punted 12 times on the season.
Oh, there you go. That's very impressive.
But there you go. Your offensive player of the week, Kemper Hodges. Your defensive player of the week, Jalen Lewis. And in your number 1 team in the large schools, Niceville. And Baker holds down the top spot in the small schools. Now let's move on to our next topic, which is college football games. I'm going to have to pull up my phone to see which games are actually going to be played this week. We've had some action going on last night. We had some 3 games going on.
I watched some of the MAC in action last
Well,
night.
we're gonna pick Toledo again. We can still pick it because it's 14-14 right now. We know the score. Western Michigan. It's tough to play at home, and I'm going to go with Western Michigan in this one.
You know where home is? My niece graduated from Western.
Western Michigan. Trying to remember the name of Western Michigan, the nickname.
Ooh.
I know Central Michigan is the Chippewas.
That's a great question. Western Michigan's in Kalamazoo.
That's right, Kalamazoo. I know they have a single-A minor league baseball team there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we can find out the nickname. Trying to look at their logo here, which doesn't really help. Are they they're not the Mustangs. They wouldn't be the Mustangs. Well, you go ahead and talk, and I'll look them up real quick.
Western Michigan, and but MAC action last night. Saw Buffalo, and the Bulls were in action. I guess the MAC is concentrating their games on Tuesday nights, and it's nice to have football early in the week.
The Broncos.
I knew.
Why did we not know that?
I didn't know that. So they're the Broncos.
They are the Broncos.
I'm going to go with the Broncos.
I am as well. There are 2.5-point favorites coming. No, I put the spreads in there, so
good.
So I wouldn't have to look up the spreads here.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go back to the other games we're going to pick tonight. This gives scores: Eastern Michigan 21, Ball State 13 in the third quarter. Western Michigan, Toledo tied at 14 in the second quarter. Central Michigan and Northern Illinois. Central Michigan up early 7-0. We got a Thursday night game tomorrow night. Colorado State. So good to see Dante, right? What a week he had last week.
He gets to play on the blue turf.
And we're going to pick that game right now.
I wonder if the rights are going to that game.
I'm not sure if they're allowing any fans yet.
Oh.
So.
Gosh.
I'm going with Boise. Unfortunately, I got to go with the 13-point favorite here in Boise State. Are you going to pull a Lee Corso on me?
I'm going to go with Dante on the
Boise
Smurf
took
turf.
a beating last week against BYU.
I gotta come back, man.
Going with Colorado State. Now we move over to Cincinnati. Gosh, what a season they're having. Remain unbeaten after a solid victory last week. They come into this game 26.5-point favorites over the Pirates of East Carolina.
They better enjoy their coach because he may be cherry-picked for a better job next year.
Let me throw this out there, Bob. If Jim Harbaugh doesn't last in Michigan, could you see Luke Fickell going to Michigan?
Yeah, I think so. I think he would be one of the hot ones that.
Despite being an Ohio State grad, played at Ohio State. He's from Ohio.
Yeah. What's his name at Ohio State's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. Excuse me, man.
A long day?
No, on the couch actually most of the day. No, they had Braylon Edwards on CBS Radio early, and Braylon talked about. They asked him point blank, "Do you think that he needs to go?" And I think you and I have talked about this before, and he doesn't see Michigan getting rid of Jim Harbaugh. He sees Jim Harbaugh leaving perhaps to go back for an NFL job. There's NFL jobs that are available right now. Houston has got an interim coach in Romeo
Carmel.
Yeah. He's an interim coach. Atlanta's got an opening. Dan Quinn getting to axe.
The Jets will have an opening.
Who knows about the Bears?
If they continue the path that they're on right now, we may have an opening as well.
So I kind of agree with that. I think Harbaugh would leave and on his own terms. Unfortunately, that's not what you let Bobby Bowden do, Florida State.
But we brought up one topic the other day on the Southern Gentleman's Show. Coaches in waiting. have not been turned out very well.
Yeah, I mean, Jimbo won a natty.
He did, but he didn't last very much longer after that. You also have Charlie Strong down at Texas. That didn't go over rather well.
The human combustion guy at South Carolina.
Muschamp.
He was in waiting in Texas. Remember that, before he got the Florida job. He was the coach in waiting when the coach of North Carolina was going to retire, who's now the coach of North Carolina.
Again.
And,
two.
And Muschamp didn't really work out. So, yeah, I could see that. I could see, and he's a hot one. And Cincinnati, I'm going to go with the Bearcats in a big win over the Pirates of East Carolina.
The Pirates. Arr.
Arr.
Next, we're going to head over to Saturday games. Our first one, 7-0 Notre Dame, the number 2 team in the country now, heading to Boston College, 5-3. Let's go back to 1993. Notre Dame had just knocked off the number 1 Florida State Seminoles.
Mm-hmm.
The following week, they're at home to Boston College. Was it a hangover from the previous week?
Most definitely.
That's why I say Irish. Going into this week, they're playing Boston College once again.
At Chestnut Hill.
Don't repeat history.
Boston College is not a pushover. They pushed Clemson. Now, Clemson didn't have their quarterback.
Did not.
That was their first game without
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
They had Uiagalelei. Like that?
Ukulele with a G.
I've been practicing that.
I was about to say the same thing. I think the Catholics are due for a letdown. I think it's going to be a close game. I really like the decision-making of Book, and I think it's going to be what's the spread?
You got 13 points.
I think Boston College will cover that. It could be a 10-point game, 9-point game. I'll go with the Catholics.
Next, we had number 1 Alabama, LSU. Not.
Nope, not playing. COVID wins.
COVID 1-0. That game postponed. We have Wisconsin, number 13, 1-0 at Michigan, 1-2. So far, it's still on. I'm going with the Badgers in this one. Michigan not looking so good right now.
Yeah, they're going to call for his head if he loses this one. The calls are going to get stronger. I'm going to go with the Badgers, keeping the producer happy.
It's always good to keep the producer happy.
Yeah.
This next game is still on. TCU 3-3 traveling to Morgantown to take on West Virginia. West Virginia 3-point favorite. They're 4-3.
Has been so up and down.
And I like TCU's defense has been playing incredible this year. They haven't had an up and down season. I think Patterson's still there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with West Virginia and Neil Brown.
I'm going to go with West Virginia as well.
Then we'll head to not so fast, my friend. Georgia and Missouri next. Oh, it would have been better to use that on Auburn, wouldn't it? Next. Next, we have Middle Tennessee State traveling to Marshall. The Thundering Herd looking incredible this year. Still undefeated up to number 16. Let me see if that game is still on.
Isn't that part of today's culture when you got to
still on.
Instead of looking up for the spread, you got to look to see whether COVID gets it or not. I'll go with the Thundering Herd.
23.5-point favorites going into that game. Number 9, Miami at Virginia Tech. Still on so far. I'm going with Miami in this one.
That was a good pick for us last week, rooting against Virginia Tech in their game with
we both took Liberty.
Liberty. I'm going with the Hurricanes.
Could they sneak in there if Notre Dame loses? I mean, Notre Dame would have, if they tie, it's a 3-way tie. Notre Dame, Clemson, and Miami but Notre Dame has the advantage over Clemson, and Clemson has the advantage over Miami. So I think we're going to end up, unless one of those teams takes another loss, we may have a rematch in the ACC championship game.
Yeah, and it may not turn out like we think it will. No divisions this year in the ACC. They're taking the top 2 teams. I'm going with the Hurricanes.
Number 15, Coastal Carolina, 7-0 at Troy, 4-3. Coastal Carolina, 7.5-point favorite in this one. I'm going with the Chanticleers.
I think this is going to be a close game. Troy's a tough place to play. Spread 7.5. I think Troy covers, but maybe a field goal game. Coastal. I'll go with Chanticleers.
Next, you have Western Carolina that's playing. They're an FCS team playing their first game of the season, going to Liberty. There's no line on this game.
They are the Catamounts.
Catamounts. You're
Catamounts.
correct.
I had to look that up.
And what's Liberty?
Florida State played that. Liberty is the Flame.
The Flames.
I'm going to go with the Flame.
Me as well. Wake Forest at North Carolina. I think that game's still on. It is. 11 o'clock kickoff.
Going with Michael and he didn't get very many touches. I think he got one touch.
He had
out
one
of the
touchdown
backfield.
rushing and one touchdown receiving.
Last week?
Last week.
I thought I saw the stats where he only had one carry. Maybe that was I was looking at another week. But, yeah, he had a big week.
Number Indiana, 3-0, up to number 10. Indiana is in the top 10.
Rarefied air.
They're going to Sparty, and Sparty's been so up and down this year, and I think Indiana will keep them down for this one.
Another game where I think the spread won't be met. I think Indiana, what is that, 9?
+9, Michigan State.
I think they'll win by a touchdown. Indiana, I'll go with the Hoosiers.
South Alabama, 3-4, heading over to Louisiana to place the Raging Cajuns. Raging Cajuns, 6-1 on the season. They're a 14-point favorite going into this game.
Go with the Cajuns.
Next, we have number 20 USC, 1-0, as they're on the road to face Arizona, who lost their game last week. Didn't lose the game. They lost playing in the game because it was against Cal, and Cal has canceled their first 2 games.
USC squeaked by Arizona State. I like the Trojans here.
Me as well. Number 11, Oregon, 1-0 at Washington State, the Cougs. And they give Nick Rolovich a win in his first game as head coach.
Yeah, they go from the air raid to what? The run and shoot.
And another Hawaii quarterback at Washington State. I'm still going with the Ducks in this one.
The Quack Attack for the win.
Number 5, Texas A&M at Tennessee. Nope. Not this one. Another one. 3 victims to COVID so far. Ohio State at Maryland. Nope.
and the significance of that, the Big Ten's rule is if there's one player, right?
One player.
SEC is if you've got X number of scholarship players available, which to me, if the SEC's not playing, is kind of scary because that means it could be widespread in your organization. So, yeah.
Number 24, Auburn at Mississippi State. I think that one might be one of the few SEC games that's going to be played. Trying to figure out when that game is. I think that game is still on as of right now. If not, we'll pick it anyways. If it's not, we'll just
scratch it
off.
I'm going to go with Auburn. Congratulations to Nick Brahms, accepted into graduate school. I think going to go after an MBA.
That's awesome.
Yep.
So proud of Nick and what he's done up there at Auburn, not only on the field but more in the classroom, and going to be a professional aviator. I follow the footsteps of his dad,
Does he have an extra? Does everybody have an extra year of eligibility no matter what?
Yes. So he's a redshirt junior this year, so he could actually play one more year. Mm-hmm. We'll see if he comes back. Mm-hmm. That sure is. Let me check to see if that game is still on.
They would really need him to anchor that line, and I know Patrick Nix would really lobby for that too, because he's been, very solid. Hasn't had too many bad snaps, if any, this year. Just an all-around great kid. He's just so respectful, so smart. Always been that way. Appreciative of everything that he gets. And that, those things you can't, those things you're just born with. I know he's got great role models at home, but both his parents.
Awesome people.
Great job by Nick. Very proud of him making
Keith
us proud.
and Bridget. The Brahms. Great family here in Navarre.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we're going to move on to SMU, number 19 at Tulsa. The Golden Hurricanes. We're tired of Hurricanes this year, Bob.
You and me, Golden or otherwise.
I'm going with Tulsa in the upset here.
Yeah, that's a sexy pick. Tulsa's playing well. I'm going to go with Tulsa also. They're at home.
I think only 3 SEC games are being played this weekend, as far as I know.
Crazy.
Arkansas 3-3, and Felipe Franks going back to Florida. Mm-hmm. Florida fresh off their big win over Georgia last week. And I look for the offense to continue to roll in this one.
Could be a hangover game, kind of emotional. Felipe could be, certainly energized, wanting to play well. Arkansas went into Tennessee and won, didn't they?
They did.
Arkansas and Florida. I'm going to go with the Gators, but not to cover. That's
you and your Gators.
13. Well, I picked 2 Chiefs earlier, so,
Next, we got, speaking of a year-long hangover, Florida State 2-5 at North Carolina State 4-3. The Wolfpack a 6.5-point favorite, and I think it will not even be that close.
I'm going with the Seminoles. We play Brady Hockman.
You got to stay true to your school. It wasn't that song.
Isn't that a great song? Was that
the
Beach Boys?
True to your school. I can't remember the name of it, but it was the Beach Boys.
Be true to your school. Yeah.
I think it was the Beach Boys.
Beach.
Northwestern 3-0, number 23 at Purdue 2-0. So something's got to give in the Big Ten as they head to Lafayette this weekend. And Purdue is a 1-point underdog in that one.
Going with the Wildcats of Northwestern.
One of my favorite college coaches, Pat Fitzgerald.
He's intense, isn't he?
He is. He's been there, seems like, since he was about 22.
Well, I remember when he played. Yeah,
I'm
old enough to remember when he played. He was a great defensive player.
And I think he went right to be a graduate assistant coach there right after he graduated from Northwestern, and he's been there ever since.
I think he had an injury of some type, a neck injury or something that prevented him from going pro.
I'm going with Northwestern as well, the Wildcats of Northwestern to go 4-0. So after 4 weeks, you could have a 4-0 Indiana team and a 4-0 Northwestern team. You could definitely tell this is 2020, can't you?
Crazy.
Now we're going to move over to our last game, Nolcor's team. First, I want to say congratulations to Nolcor. I don't know if you saw the latest news. He is actually took the oath. He's going to be a Naval Reserve officer. He's going to be heading up to Great Lakes to do his training here in a couple of months. He's going off to be in the reserves in the Navy.
Oh, great job, Nolcor. He'll teach them a thing or two about fitness.
Oh, that he will.
He'll probably break every Naval Reserve record. How far are we going to run? 10 miles? Psh, that's a warm-up
I do that in my sleep. But congratulations to Chris Caravello. A lot of people know him as Nolcar, but it's
I did not know his real name.
Christopher Caravello.
Chris Caravello.
He graduated from Woodham High School, ran track with Justin Gatlin, and also he went over and ran. He walked on at Florida State, ran track at Florida State, got his bachelor's from Florida State, then got his first master's from the University of Washington. That's why he's a Washington fan as well. And just this summer, he finished up and got his second master's from Arizona State. So he never sits still.
He is a modern Renaissance man.
Most definitely. You got Oregon 0-1 going to Washington.
Oregon State, the Beavers.
Oregon State, the Beavers.
Going to go with
Washington.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. I think we had a couple different there. So there's our college picks. And you know the only way to find out who wins is to log back on next Wednesday night.
How many games am I behind?
You are now 5 games behind me.
Ow, man.
And so I'm at 109 and 44. You're at 104 and 49.
I need a Band-Aid over here.
We did have a good week. So I went 22 and 3 this last week, 88%. You went 19 and 6, was still a respectable 76%. But
you know one thing we can agree on?
What's that?
You own a cool hat.
You know, I walked in. I played golf Sunday morning with Brady.
Did you really?
And Octavian. They came home this weekend, and he goes, Dad, I want to play golf. I said, okay. So let me see if I can get an early tee time. So we got out at 7 o'clock Sunday morning. I think the second one off the tees, and it was a beautiful Sunday morning.
Yeah, it was.
And, I mean, actually, I shot kind of respectable for Irish Bill. I shot an 87, which I was very, very pleased. Octavian got me by 2 strokes, but I was very pleased. I even had one birdie on number 17. I rolled in a putt from off the green about 25, 30 feet. And
so 87, is that for 9 holes?
That is actually for 18. I shot 42 on the front and 45 on the back.
I haven't picked up the sticks in so long.
I hadn't either, and but it was nice just to get out with them.
Oh, yeah.
One group in front of us, they stayed in front of us, and we never had to slow down as we stayed behind them, and the group behind us never caught us. So it was just a nice flow as we spent the beautiful day out on the course. And when I went into the clubhouse afterwards, and I saw that's an Irish Bill hat. So
they should have given it to me.
Black Clover has been around for a while. I had never seen it. They just started carrying it. Well, I don't get to the clubhouse very often anyway. So when I saw it, I said, I got to have that.
Good for you.
And that's the story behind the hat.
Good for you. And I'm sporting a Raiders hat, although it's Las Vegas Raiders. My niece,
that's pretty cool too.
Adoxy Grant, works for
fitted hat. That's the only way I go.
I
only wear fitted hats.
She is assistant comptroller or assistant finance director for the Las Vegas Raiders. Living life large, beautiful girl. My brother's youngest daughter, and
so you want to pick some other games since we had to cancel?
Why not?
Let's pick 4 more games since we had to cancel 4 off the. Let's go Penn State at Nebraska. Something's got to give.
Penn State and Nebraska. Penn State
0-3.
They're staying with their quarterback, I understand, which is, for Franklin, that's smart.
At Nebraska.
I don't know. The mystique of Scott.
Scott Frost is.
Yeah, maybe wearing off there.
I'm going with Penn State.
Yeah.
Then we're going to move up here. I don't pick a game with Lovey as the coach. Let's see if we can pick up another game here. How about Baylor at Texas Tech? Baylor is a 1.5-point dog.
At Texas Tech.
At Texas Tech.
One of our former Raiders.
Tommy Leggett plays there at Texas Tech. I'm going with the home team in this one.
Guns up.
Going with Texas Tech.
Yeah.
We got 2 more games to pick here.
On-air production.
On-air production. You got to love it. Let's head back out to the West Coast. We haven't picked enough of those. Utah playing their first game at UCLA. I'm going with the Utes. To what?
Utes.
UCLA lost a high-scoring game last week to Colorado.
It's just so weird. Some teams, like
And wherever it
Cincinnati
stops,
playing
it'll
their
pick.
7th game and Utah playing their 1st game.
I was going to go that one. That one's already been postponed. That was the Navy and Memphis game. Air Force Wyoming canceled. Let's go. How about Vanderbilt at Kentucky?
Ooh. Great basketball game. Not sure football. I'm going to go with Kentucky.
I'll go with Kentucky as well. So there's our 4 games we pick up for those that were canceled. I didn't even see the Auburn and Mississippi State game on there. Make sure that they're playing. No, they actually play, this weekend. Supposed to be a 3 o'clock game. But I'm not showing it on there. I think that game might be canceled as well. So let's go one more. Let's go out way west, Hawaii at San Diego State.
At San Diego State. Hawaii, what are the records?
Hawaii is 2-1. San Diego State is 2-1. I'm going with the Aztecs.
Aloha.
Going with Hawaii. Okay.
Going with are they the Hawaiians?
No,
the Rainbow Warriors.
Rainbow Warriors.
Yeah, Hawaiians. Have another drink, Bob. It's all Pepsi, but it's great Pepsi because it's at Culver's.
Yep. Indeed. Thanks to Honey and Randy Smith for allowing us every Wednesday night they allow us to come into your homes as we come and invade their home here at their establishment here off Highway 98 in Navarre. And let's go to our former Raiders and where they're at and what they're doing. Texas Tech defensive back Tommy Leggett, he's a redshirt senior. They're 2-5 on the season, 1-5 in Big 12 action. He had 7 tackles last week and a tackle for loss, and a 34-18 loss to TCU. They'll be hosting Baylor this week at 3 p.m. kickoff on the season. Tommy with 40 tackles, 29 solo, 11 assists, and a tackle for loss in his last season as unless he decides to. He's already had his red shirt. I'm not sure if he'll be able to come back for his 6th year.
He's the type of a young man that might not get drafted in NFL, but could, because of his tackling prowess, he could be kept on as special teams now that the NFL has expanded because of COVID. Their rosters or their backup rosters. So I think Tommy, if he stays injury free, he could wind up playing on Sunday.
Next, we have running back from North Carolina, Michael Carter, a senior. They're 5-2 on the season, 5-2 in ACC action. He had 12 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown. He had 3 receptions for 46 yards and a touchdown, and a 56-24 win over the Dukies. On the season for Michael, 95 carries, 735 yards. So he's averaging 100 and quick math here, 7 games, 105 yards a game, which would put him over 1,000 for the 2nd consecutive season. 4 TDs rushing. He has 17 receptions for 174 yards, averaging 10 yards a catch. He's also scored his first touchdown receiving on the season, so 5 touchdowns on the season for Michael. And they'll be at home this week as they host Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons. Noon kickoff on Saturday.
Yeah, I see Michael perhaps being a 2nd or 3rd round draft choice, and whoever gets him is going to have not only a heck of an athlete, great character, great locker room, great teammate. It's going to be a steal. Is he an Alvin Kamara-like? That's high praise, but I mean,
why not?
We knew that he would do well in college. Did America know that? No. And then, he started to really.
He has really flourished when he went over to Chapel Hill and played for and then Mac Brown comes in, and And I would love to play for that guy if I was a football player.
Run through a brick wall for Mac Brown.
And but they'll be playing Wake Forest this weekend. Auburn's offensive lineman Nick Brahms, he's a redshirt junior. They're 4-2 on the season and in the SEC play. Not sure if their game will be on Saturday or not. It was supposed to be a 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. Ave Maria University offensive lineman LaMarcus Smith, he's a senior for the Gyrenes. I love that Nick.
What's a Gyrene?
A Marine.
Oh,
it's a nickname. It's
okay.
So that they had a 28-7 loss to Kaiser University, a new program down in southern Florida. They'll be at Weber International this week, 1:30 kickoff Eastern time. West Virginia defensive lineman Jordan Jefferson, a sophomore. They're 4-3 on the season and 3-3 in Big 12 action. He did not play in a 17-13 loss to Texas. They'll be hosting TCU this week at noon. No stats on the season for Jordan. South Alabama's linebacker Josh Carter. He played but did not register any stats in a 23-6 loss to Coastal Carolina. They're 3-4 on the season, 2-2 in conference play. They'll be in Louisiana this week to take on the Raging Cajuns. 1 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. No stats on the season for Josh. And Dante Wright from Colorado State finally got on the field this week. They're 1-1 on the season. He is a sophomore. 10 receptions, 146 yards, 1 carry for 2 yards, 2 punt returns for 11 yards, and a 34-24 win over Wyoming. They'll be hosting they'll be on the road at Boise State tomorrow. And what you got for me, Bob?
Mississippi State, the game has been postponed.
Okay, so mark another one off the schedule. And for Dante, they'll be at Boise State tomorrow night to take on Boise State, a 6 p.m. Mountain Time kickoff, so that should be 7 o'clock our time. And we'll be able to watch that game tomorrow night.
Absolutely.
And that's his only game, so those are his seasonal stats as well. And University of Louisiana long snapper James Segrest, he is a preferred walk-on this year, not eligible to play. And they took out Arkansas State this past week, 27-20. They're 6-1 on the season, 4-1 conference play, and they will be hosting South Alabama on Saturday.
Yeah, I got Dante and Michael mixed up on stats.
Yeah,
that's why
Well, now it's time for Seminole Bob's Twisted Take.
Well, nothing splashy this week, but news out of Tallahassee today that 3 players have left the program. James Blackman, who was the starter at the beginning of the year, was almost getting ready to leave the program a year or so ago when DeAndre Francois, it was announced that DeAndre was going to leave. James changed his mind and was thus thrust into a role of a starter. Got a great heart. Last week, he did get in the game in the second half through an interception and then was pulled for a Chubba, who is the third string quarterback.
Purdy,
yeah.
His older brother's having an outstanding season at Iowa State.
Yeah, and so James Blackman announced he's leaving the program. Tamarion Terry, the wide receiver from Florida State, great athlete, has also left the program. I think the news came out today. And a third Seminole, Marvin Wilson, who's been nagged by injuries, double and triple teamed defensive tackle. He is going to sit out the rest of the year and get ready for the NFL draft. You know,
and at this point, you really can't blame them.
No, not. I mean, they're 2-5. Probably not going to a bowl. Certainly don't want to jeopardize. You know, this is happening at Mississippi State and at colleges around the country because of when you get into the portal, the transfer portal, it used to be when it first came out pretty strict. Now you've got a hangnail or the coach looks at you wrong and you want to transfer and they'll grant it. Seminole fans may not want to hear this, but really my twisted take for today is thank you for these players who are leaving. Thank you for your time at Florida State. Tamarian Terry says he wished he could spend the rest, finish out, but he feels like he should go into the transfer portal. He was outspoken at the beginning of the season with the coaching staff, along with Marvin Wilson. Marvin Wilson and him, that was actually a different subject, had to do with something Coach Norvell said that Marvin took the wrong way. Terrion Terry thought that the Florida State program was not very clear and transparent as far as COVID issues and who had COVID and who didn't. He got sideways with the coaching staff on that. Got into a shouting match earlier this year with position coach Ron Dugans, who's a FSU legend, who was a wide receiver there, did some NFL time, got into coaching at FSU, left for Miami, and is now back. He's a holdover from the last coaching staff. You need people who are going to buy into the program. I'm very, as a Seminole fan and a graduate, I'm happy with Mike Norvell. I like what he brings to the table. And if you don't want to be part of the program for whatever reason, you have that right. That's what makes America great. If you don't want to play for him, then go. Perhaps that would be a locker room problem. And Florida State has found some other receivers to go to. It's hard to replace an All-American like Marvin Wilson. We found some quarterbacks, and now we're getting a little thin on quarterback again. Thank you for your time. Time to turn the page and go forward with folks that Mike Norvell is going to bring in and do it his way.
I agree with you 100%. Now it's time to move over to our Florida high school football fun facts for week 3. I've enjoyed doing research on these to come up with these
You're
stats.
a numbers guy.
That's
what you do for a living.
I've always been a numbers guy. And one of the teams that I'll be covering Friday night is a part of this list. Mm-hmm. We have and one local team is on this list 3 times. So we're going to most points scored in a regulation high school game in the state of Florida. We're going to go all the way back to 1973. University Christian over Victory Christian out of Jacksonville, 130-0. Think they had a running clock back then?
Nope.
I don't think they did. We're going to have a little drop in points. We're going to go to 111, but we're going to go back almost 100 years. Union Academy, not even sure where they're out of.
Probably Union County down south.
1927, just the year after you were born.
I've never liked you.
And they took on Roosevelt Lake Wales and a 111-0 shutout. 1928, the Pensacola Tigers, one of the oldest schools in the state of Florida. Mm-hmm. 1928, they put up 110 on Robertsdale, Alabama, 110-0. 106 points, Mainland out of Daytona, 1929. They took on Carolinas out of St. Augustine, 106-0. Lee High School is the team that we are covering out of Jacksonville this Friday night. In 1929, they played Blackshear out of Georgia, 106-0. Oof. Pensacola in 1924, so 96 years ago, they put up a 106 spot on Walton in a 106-0 victory. And that same year, they did it again. They put up 100 on Bruton, Alabama, Thomas Industrial Institute, 100-0.
And in a game that did not count, I think they also played in the 20s. They beat the Marines like 103-0.
In our modern record, which I think is anything from 1980 on, I think modern day, the points scored in the game, Crescent City versus St. John Ocala. Crescent City won 98-14. 98 points.
I wonder what the under was.
I think I think I would have went with the over in that one.
Yeah.
Most points scored in the game, both teams regulation. Clay defeated Bishop Kenny in 2013, 74-73, 147 points in the game.
That's a basketball score.
134 points in the game. Hewitt Trussville, Alabama defeated Manatee 78-56 in 2016. And 2016 as well, Cambridge Christian defeated Indian Rocks Christian 85-46, 131 points. In 2011, Oak Hall defeated St. John out of Ocala 69-61. In a wild contest there. Last team to hold the ball wins. 2011, and in 1973, we've already talked about the 130-0 University Christian over Victory Christian. In 2014, the St. Cloud defeated Centennial, California, 69-56, 125 points, and 125 points in Indian Rocks Christian, who was on the back end of a 85-46. Actually defeats Clearwater Cavalry 63-62 in a nail-biter in 2006. And in 2013, I don't remember this game. I should. Escambia defeated Rutherford 70-54, 124 points in one game scored by both teams.
Crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
7 years ago.
I have to figure out something new for next week. But there's Florida High School football fun facts. Your record holders this week. Most points scored in the game by individual and by both teams. Well, that's going to wrap up another week of Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. It's been fun. It's been real, and it's been real fun. And we're gonna call it a night. Navarre will not be playing this Friday night as they have the bye week. They'll be hosting the winner of Buchholz and Creekside next Friday night at Bennett C. Russell Stadium. And hopefully we'll see you all out there. And we're planning on bringing you the game next Friday night after I complete the paperwork early on next week. And we'll bring you some more Raider football. But until next Wednesday night from right here at Culver's in downtown Navarre, may the wind ever be at your back. This is Irish Bill signing off.
Good night, Navarre. God bless.